What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Federalprison.consulting. I'm Ryan Park. This is my wife, Kimmy. So we were just out doing a little shopping, trying to get ready for the holidays. And we know we get a lot of questions that people ask in regards to commissary and how much money should go on one's books. And that's a really good question because, unlike us here in the world, that when we can just go out to the store, we have a bank account, we have that kind of stuff. But how much money should someone put on one's books, or how much money does things really cost? So that's what we figured is we're going to pop on here real quick and kind of talk to you guys about that. So if you are watching this and you have any family that's out there, or you're trying to prepare to go to prison, maybe this video might start to help you kind of start, making those kind of plans. All right, so let's get started with topic number one. Let's talk about phones. That's definitely where you want to start the budget, is for phones, because obviously you want to keep in touch with your friends and family on the outside. So unlike when you're out in the world, you will have access to like cell phones, internet, Skype, things of that sort. When you're in prison, you do not have access to those things. One of the items that you do have access to is something called TrueLinks. TrueLinks is going to be your database when you're in prison. That is going to be the central part of how you email family and friends, and also where you keep all your contact lists in regards to making phone calls. Now, as far as phone calls goes in prison right now during COVID, and that's going to be on another video we're going to be talking about, is what to expect in prison during COVID, because we're both in prison during COVID times. And things have changed a little bit. So with that being said, right now during COVID, you have a maximum allowance of 500 minutes when it was previously 300 minutes per month. Now, during COVID, it was really weird at times. I know that typically speaking, before COVID, you would have a maximum allowance of 15 minutes per phone call that you can make. Then when I was in prison, it went down to 5 minutes. Then they bumped it back up to 10. Right now, it's still at 10 in certain prisons, still as of this moment. So when phone calls go back to costing money when this COVID is done, what you're going to be looking at is you're going to be looking at spending about 6 cents per minute on local calls. So local calls are any calls that are within the same area code. Then you're going to be looking at spending 21 cents thereafter for any other calls that are going to be outside that area code. Then if you're going to be calling internationally, of course, those are going to be going up as well. All right, so with that being said, what you should budget for is approximately, if you max out all 300 minutes, but keep in mind right now, 500 minutes are free because of COVID. Once this is over and they go back to the normal way of doing things, when they go back up down to the 300 minutes, you're looking at spending about $63 per month if you use all 300 minutes at 21 cents per minute.
So you also have the option to email family and friends from prison. And when you're incarcerated, you buy a thing called units. And a unit is basically a minute. So every minute ends up costing about 5 cents. So you're spending about $3 per hour. But you have to keep in mind that's reading emails. That's also typing back and replying to emails too. With Core Links, that's what your family and friends will download. I suggest paying the annual membership. It's like $6. You get the app on your phone for the people who are out, but they'll get notifications when you email them. Doesn't cost them anything, but it does cost you 5 cents every single minute.
Now, prior to me going in, I was actually thinking there's no way I'm going to sit on the computer for 1 hour, because I don't even do that now and send emails. But believe it or not, you are going to be wanting to send emails back and forth a lot, because you're going to want to stay in touch with them, because your phone time is going to be so limited. So you want to budget for a lot of time that you can stay in touch with friends and family via internet, and that's doing the emails. All right, so the next big thing, commissary. Now, every prison is going to vary. Kimmy's prison, I think their maximum allowance pre-COVID was like $150. Mine was $180 every 2 weeks, right? I think that was the same thing. Yeah, so it's every 2 weeks where you can spend that. Now, this is where we can start to kind of help you plan this. Everyone's lifestyle is going to be different. And I'll give you guys a perfect example. So for me, I really wanted to get in shape and I really wanted to stay fit. So for me, I needed to eat a lot of protein. And so for that, I had to budget X amount for tuna. Other guys, they would make cakes or ice cream and stuff like that. And so they would get a lot of sugary things and things of that sort. So this is where we can actually step in and start to help you as your prison consultants, is we can start to budget for you, that we can sit down with you and see what your lifestyle is going to be, because guess what? Everyone's lifestyle is going to be different, and every prison is also going to be different as far as what you can buy and what you should be buying. So now once you first get to prison, what's going to happen is that you're obviously going to have to get yourself set up. Now, every prison, each commissary is going to be different, but there's going to be a lot of essentials you want to get set up. Of course, obviously it's going to be, taking care of your body, like toothpaste, toothbrush, things of that sort. But also you're going to want some clothes. You're going to want some nicer socks, because guess what? The prison issued stuff is not the best. So you definitely want to get yourself set up with that. So that's where we can also step in and kind of help you budget to kind of get yourself initially set up, and then how much you're going to have to budget thereafter. Okay, so now we covered phones, we covered emails, and we covered commissary, because of course commissary is going to vary, and that's where we can, help you, try to find the right budget that fits you. Now, unlike state prisons, where in state prisons that your family and friends can mail you in gift bags and things of that sort of food, unfortunately, federal prisons, you cannot do that. So only in federal prisons, I think it's only in books and magazines and such, right?
Books, magazines, coloring books, puzzle books, just anything from an authorized dealer. And it has to come straight from a retailer. You can't just send it in from family.
Right. And so that's something we can also help your friends and family get set up on, is what authorized websites and links and stuff like that, where they can send you books, magazines, newspapers, coloring books, and things of that sort. So the delay is not there, so it gets to you a little sooner.
So another thing you're going to need a budget for, if you owe a restitution
or fines,
you're going to have to pay an FRP payment quarterly. Typically it's about $25 per quarter that you pay towards the FRP payment. But if you're getting hundreds and hundreds of dollars on your books from family and friends, they're actually going to raise that payment significantly.
Yeah, so a lot of people actually don't know about this. And this is something that the courts will set up during your time of sentencing. So if you owe any kind of fines or a restitution, what the courts are going to do is they're going to set you up on something called an FRP payment. And that starts around about $25 per quarter. Now, once you get to prison itself, the prison's going to have their own separate rules. The prison will actually look at how much money is going to be coming in on your books. So if you have a wonderful aunt, let's just say, that wants to put thousands of dollars on your books every month, but let's just say that you owe a lot of money toward fines or restitution. Well, the prison's going to say that you are going to be able to owe more than $25 per quarter, and then they're going to bump up your FRP payment accordingly. Sometimes they go up to you paying on a monthly basis. Sometimes they keep it on a quarterly basis. So it's really contingent on how much money is going on your books. And those are things we can also help you with in regards to trying to budget. So then you know exactly how much your friends or family need to be putting on your books on a monthly budget. Okay, so next, the prison is going to actually want to see that you're going to be responsible. I know it's going to sound weird, because a lot of us, we're pretty responsible in our own ways, but what the prison's going to do is they're going to want you to be set up on a savings plan, and they're going to designate how much money that you should be putting aside from the money that's going on your books to go into a separate savings account. They're going to have a goal for each of you. Sometimes it's totally contingent on the length of your sentence. Some guys I was in prison with, some of their savings was like they wanted to save $4,000 before they left prison. Now that's their sentence is maybe 10 years. For mine was, I think it was equivalent to about like $20 a month. And so what I did was I would transfer that into my savings account. So then when I leave prison, they leave with a little debit card, and any money that you have still on your books goes onto a little debit card itself. And then you can use that later. Okay, so I know that is a lot to grasp, and I know it's really confusing, because how can you plan this? So I'll kind of give you guys an example. Now, you got to keep in mind too, when I was in prison, phone calls were free, so that's going to vary a little bit too. But I was emailing a lot. Probably more than I should have, but I was definitely emailing a lot. I was also eating a bunch of tunas because I was trying to stay fit and I was trying to eat healthier foods and not get the junk food from the commissary as well. My budget was anywhere between, I think it was $220 a month, upwards of $280 a month. That also kept me in the budget in regards to, all my, fees, everything that I had to pay. Now, here's also key too, that if you get a good job when you're in prison, that can help you as well, because that if you get a better paying job, guess what? That's less money that you got to be putting on your books. So it's really good to actually get a good job once you get to prison. Now, I think Kimmy was on a different savings plan, right?
Yes, I was. So I budgeted around $200 a month for myself. And when I was in prison, it was expensive initially because I had to get my spork and my plate and my cup and all the things. But once I got everything I needed, that went down significantly. I spent about $100 a month, maybe even less. I really didn't spend a lot. So you kind of just figure out what your goals are and how you're going to spend your money. And I wanted to save as much as possible. And my savings goal was high. They gave me a $500 savings goal.
Dang. So every prison is going to vary, and that's why we want to sit down with you. And that's why during our free consultation, that if you guys go ahead and hire us, we're not just going to treat you all the same way. Each person is going to have a different budget. And that's why prior to you going to prison, what we would want to do is sit down with you and see exactly where you're going to be pretty much your financial consultants as well. So when you go to prison, you and your family are so prepared for that. All right, so I know that's a lot to take in. I hope that really helped you guys out. And do you have anything else to add?
No, I just hope it answers your questions.
Yeah.
And, when you're facing prison time, it's really stressful. And there's a lot of things you need to do to prepare mentally, physically. But financially is a really important part that most people graze and skip over. And by working with us, we are going to make sure you're perfectly prepared. You know exactly what to expect and just have the smoothest transition as possible.
Yeah, and also we have a big checklist too that also prepares you if you are going to be going to prison. And that's the one thing that you want is when you're sitting there in prison, you want to be as calm as possible, and not only for you, but also for your family. And especially that is a big thing with a lot of families is how much money goes on one's books. And that's what we want to do is sit down with you and start helping you through that. So hopefully this kind of gives you a little insight to how much money to maybe start setting aside and how much money that you should start budgeting for your own friends and family that may be incarcerated right now.
So guys, if you want to reach out, you want your free consultation, there's a link right down below, or visit our website at www.federalprison.consulting, and you can sign up for your free consultation, pick your appointment time right there.
And just remember, guys, right now, you have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. We'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great night.